Hi, this is Naomi, and my topic for today is food preservation. This is my content. Food preservation is the use of available technologies and procedures in order to prevent spoilage of food products and extend their shelf life and prevent foodborne illness. Shelf life may be defined at the time it takes a product to decline to an unacceptable level to the customers. This figure shows that there's a lot of factors that could influence the food spoilage to maintain those um, like sensory properties. Preservation should be applied as early as possible in the food production pipeline. And also many food production are seasonal, and from year to year, the yields of agriculture production is varied depending on the weather and other factors. Usually during the production seasons, the offer of fresh product often above the demand. So those products are not consumed in the fresh market. So we can put them into processed food for a longer period of time. And so the people in other regions located far from the production area can consume them as well. So food preservation not only reduce the waste of food, but also offer the customers many convenient features that make the preparation of a meal easier and faster. Microbial contamination are a really big factor of food spoilage. So bacteria, yeast, and most different type of microorganisms that may cause food deterioration and foodborne illness. Some viruses may also be transmitted through food, but they are not associated with deterioration of products. Not all microorganisms are determined bad for food. Some are indeed very useful and have been utilized many generations to produce fermented products. Bacteria, for example, the acetic acid bacteria, AAB, AC organisms that are well adapted to sugar and acid-rich environments. So the isolation, purification, and identification and preservation of AAB are very difficult. Wine is one of the most risk of spoilage during production, and the presence of the bacteria in grapes, the AB can be eliminated by limiting oxygen, and oxygen is an essential growth factors for this bacteria. And lactic acid bacteria, they are widely distributed in various ecological niches, and they are generally used for metabolic activity of organic acid production in dairy product and on sourdough. And this activity can be harmful to food matrices like processed cheese or beverages like fruit juices and beer. And fungi, the filamentous fungi, is the main visual aspect of spoilage that like often are pigment growths, like you see here. And fungi spoilage is highly visible. You can see the moldy things on top of the strawberry. Yeah, they also cause like weird flavors and odors. They are most found in fruit and cereals. And yeast always spoil high acid fruit, high acid product. They have low pH, they have high sugar, high salt, and weak organic acid. And therefore, the fruit and fruit-based product, sugar syrups, alcoholic or carbonated beverages, salad dressing, these kind of products are often always associated with yeast spoilage. And so most of the time, more than one factors is responsible for the spoilage of food product, and some factors they may be enhance or favor each other. So chemical and biochemical factors, including reaction of food component with oxygens, and other reactions are catalyzed by enzyme. So as the picture shows, the maillard browning is caused by a chemical reaction between proteins and carbohydrates and actually result in changing color. And this type of brownie is desirable in baked products, but it's not desirable for food because nobody would like to buy browned bananas. And also, oxidative acidity is a chemical change in unsaturated fats and oils, and it produces all flavors. This chemical reaction affects sensory qualities of food and can alter influence the nutritional value of products. And let's review the factors that affect microbial growth. And the methodology of fruit preservation, the way that we use to do the to inhibit the microorganism growth inside or outside the food product. So we have the low temperature preservation that basically is just freezing, refrigeration, or maybe put your stuff in a chilled storage. And we also have thermal processing. There pasteurization and also commercial sterilization that are used in the industry field. And dehydration, that's the controlling of water activity. And we also have a pH control, like making kimchi and other pickles. And we use chemical preservation, that's specific chemical compounds can be used to inhibit the growth of microorganisms. And also food irradiation is the process of exposing food to ionizing radiation like gamma rays, X-rays, or electron beams, but they're not directly contact to the food product. That's a very controversial way of food preservation. And packaging maintains the benefit of food processing after the process is completed, and that enabling the foods to travel safely and to long distance and still be wholesome at the time of consumption. So the material usually used for food production are glass, metals like aluminum, foils, laminates, and paperboards, and plastic. And right now, a wider variety of plastics have been introduced. Today's food packages often combine several materials to exfoliate each material's function or aesthetic properties. In food packaging, you have to follow certain guidelines, like the Full 9 of the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, Comprehensive Procurement Guidelines, and the EPA guidelines of the food waste. So here we come to the environment characteristics. There's this thing called life cycle analysis. It's actually assessment of the the analysis of the footprint of the product is a comprehensive analysis of the material from production to disposal, and it's really important in determining the environmental impact of the packaging. So right now we're using like new packaging materials, like sustainable material, like here you can see, to fulfill what the customers need, because most of the customers they often look at the company negatively if the companies force the customers to throw a product away, like then recycle or reuse it. Like here, if you are trying to package your product, you have to consider the waste. And also want to talk about botulism. Botulism is a rare but serious illness caused by a toxin that attacks the body's nerve and causes difficulty breathing, muscle paralysis, and even death. You may know this toxin as Botox, something you can inject to your face and reduce the skin wrinkle. It's an old school aesthetic medicine. This toxin is made by Clostridium botulinum toxin, but also other two bacteria that belongs to the Clostridium genus. There's a lot of food botulism, but one of the most famous one, the most dangerous one is botulism with home candy, like the foodborne illnesses. It's serious, but it's rare and caused by eating food that are contaminated with a disease-caused toxin. And those bacteria are the spores-making bacteria. We can We tried from the 211 lab. The spores are meant to protect the bacteria, and sometimes they are not toxic, but those spores grow into a toxin under certain condition. Like here, you see the temperature, the anaerobic condition, the pH, and the moist condition. And the improperly home canned, preserved, and fermented food provide the right condition for this bacteria to grow and make the botulinum toxin. And also, you cannot see or smell or taste the botulinum toxin, but taking even a small taste of food contain that toxin can be deadly. When people eat this food, they can become seriously ill or even die if they don't get properly medical treatment. The symptoms of botulism include blurred eye vision and dropping eyelids, dry mouth and throat, difficulty swallowing, vomiting, abdominal distension, problem urinating, and respiratory paralysis and muscle weaknesses. So the symptom usually start with the weakness of muscle of the eye, the face, the mouth, and throat. And these weaknesses may spread to the neck, the arms, and dorsal, and legs. Botulism also can weaken the muscles involved in the respiratory system that lead to difficulty breathing and even death. For the symptom begins usually within 12 to 72 hours after you eat the contaminated food. For the treatment, if you go to the hospital and you have foodborne illness, botulism, the doctor usually gave you this. This is a botulism antitoxin. It's a combination of the antibody and antibody antigen binding fragments that block the neurotoxin produced by the Clostridium botulinum. And that's it. This is my reference, and thank you for watching.